Okay, to start off with, I have 8 Mexican bread baguettes. These are basically a French bread that I got from my Mexican bakery. You could use French bread or any white bread that you like. I will be cutting these into cubes and toasting them in the oven. Now let's get started. So here I have a bread knife and I'm attempting to cube these, and because I sped things up, sure, it looks easy, but guess what? It wasn't. I don't know why. I guess this bread was really rubbery, so it was basically, the knife was just tearing through it. So I thought, ditch the knife and let's just start tearing it. So here's my attempt at tearing the bread into pieces, but even as I was doing that, it seemed a little tedious. So I thought, let me figure this out and do something different. So, ta-da! Kitchen shears. And it worked. So if you're doing this and you find yourself in the same situation, guess what? Kitchen shears, it works. Just snip it into the size that you want. Okay, so all of my bread is cut into pieces. Now I'm going to toast it in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, just so it gets dry and toasted. Now on to my vegetables. Here I have 2 bell peppers, 1 red, 1 green, because guess what? They look good in the market. I have a stalk of celery, and I'm also going to be using 1 medium to large onion and 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to start off by chopping my celery, then the rest of the vegetables. And I will say this, the bell pepper, you can leave it out, but I like bell pepper. It not only adds color, but I like the flavor, but that is optional. Okay, so now that all of my vegetables are diced, I've also minced the garlic. I am going to saute these. But first, I wanted to show you my bread is all nice and toasty. Again, it took about 15 to 20 minutes, but you want to watch it because it could get away from you. So I'm going to set this aside, and now I'm going to saute my vegetables. First, you will need 1 skillet, and now I'm adding a whole stick of butter. Yes, a whole stick of butter. Let it melt down, and once it's melted, that's when you want to toss in your vegetables. I'm going to start sauteing just the onion, celery, and bell pepper first, and then I'll add in the garlic later. You don't want to burn the garlic. And I'm just going to saute this till the onion gets nice and translucent. I didn't mention this earlier, but I wanted to show you that I have about a half a cup of fresh parsley that I chopped. Now I'm going to add a hefty pinch of salt. Again, because you're working with ingredients that are not seasoned, we're not working with pre-seasoned breadcrumbs or cubes, you want to season along the way. So a hefty pinch of salt and pepper to your taste, and continue sauteing. Now I'm going to add in the garlic. And that's, I meant to do that. Replay. So get the garlic in there however you like to do it. Apparently I like to drop things in there, and it works because it all landed in there. So let's just go ahead and mix that up. And now I'm going to be adding about 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning. I'm also going to be adding 2 teaspoons of rubbed sage. And you can do a teaspoon at a time to your taste. So I'm going to set this aside, and now I'm going to work on my sausage. Here I have 1 pound of mild turkey sausage, breakfast sausage. You could use pork. There are some other variations like sage pork sausage. You could also use Italian sausage, but use a pound. That's what I find goes well in the recipe. Okay, so now that's all broken apart and browned, and I also want to show you how There is little to no fat in here, which is great about this turkey sausage. Normally when I use pork, I do end up with a lot of grease that I have to drain, but this, not so much, so I like it already. Okay, now we're just going to mix everything and combine it. Here I have all my cubed bread, toasted cubed bread in a big bowl, and now I'm adding my sauteed vegetables. And I also want to mention that you should have about 3 cups of reserved chicken broth. That's what I'm going to be using. Now I'm going to add in our browned turkey sausage. If you like pork, again, use the sausage you like. And here goes the fresh Italian parsley that I chopped. Now I'm going to add a little bit more poultry seasoning and rubbed sage. Again, we're seasoning in layers because the bread was not seasoned and everything else we're using. The only thing that was seasoned was the turkey sausage. So I'm going to give that a good mix. And here I'm going to start off with 2 cups of chicken broth. And I'm going to add it little by little. You don't just want to dump it in there. You want to give the bread time to saturate, because if you just dump it in there, you're going to get your bread too mushy and it'll break apart. You want to keep the texture and the shape of the bread. So just give it a good mix. And again, add more broth. I'm going to be adding 2 cups just little by little as I mix. So here I have my Crock-Pot, and now all I'm going to do is just put in all of the dressing that we just mixed. And I have 1 cup of reserved broth that I will be adding later. And again, if you like it more wet, add more broth, and if you don't, leave as is. So here's a little bit more broth, and I'm just going to slowly pour that on top. And I'm only going to pour about half of it. The other half I'm going to reserve should I need it later in the cooking process. Okay, so now I'm going to add a couple pats of butter. This is about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just thinly slicing it and spreading it out on top. I will be cooking this on a high setting on my slow cooker for 2.5 hours. Now, if you're cooking it on low, if you need to prolong the cooking process, you can do it on low for 3 to 4. I like to cook my dressing this way because A, I have a very small oven and it alleviates oven space for other things to bake. And because the stuffing out of the turkey is not a lot, this actually tastes like you're eating stuffing and it's enough for everyone. So here I'm adding my other half cup of my chicken broth. Again, you don't have to do that if you like it on the drier side. And then I'm just going to let it cook for the additional hour. So after an hour, here is my delicious sausage dressing. And I can't tell you how convenient this is. I put it on a low setting because I still want it to stay warm. I'm probably going to keep it on low for another 30 minutes and the meal will be done. As always, the recipe will be listed in the description box below. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.